Shai, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you for coming in. We've got some exciting news today, which, while has been a little bit of a long time coming, we are so excited to be working together. So tell us a little bit about the news.
So Oak is finally out there.
Yeah.
We closed the $60 million seed round to build the next generation platform in identity.
Once again, thank you for having us on this journey. I remember I was walking through the streets of New York on the phone to you, also talking with my investment committee, and just, you had lots of options. So thank you for involving us. And similarly, not only with investors, but also what you could have built. In the age of AI, you could have built anything from a foundational model to an endpoint to whatever, but you ended up on an identity. So tell us a little bit about why you ended up there.
Amazing. So first, I would say thank you for joining.
Thank you.
We're very excited about you being part of the team and working together and building the big cyber giant, I would say, the futuristic cyber giant. So you asked about identity. I think if you're looking at cyber, you're looking at cyber risk, you're looking at the pains around cyber and around cyber risk, probably identity is still the top one. Meaning, after we left the perimeter, after we left the network security that used to surround everything that we do and everything that we have in enterprises, and went to the cloud and went to a more complex environment, identity is the biggest keys to the kingdom, or is the keys to the kingdom at the end of the day. When you're thinking of breaches, 90% of breaches involve identity, permissions, privileges.
And sorry to interrupt, but do you feel like this is a new problem with AI, like an increased problem? Like what, why 2026 is the time to build this?
So it's not a new problem, but it's a bigger problem, or I would say like even bigger than it used to be. And the why now, I would say it's probably the why now have several reasons, I would say. Like one, AI agents are one of the new identities that you have in your org. If you're thinking about it, it's like probably the most, like the smartest identities or the smartest people that you have, but very, very, very naive at the end of the day. And you're giving the keys to the kingdom to them.
Yeah.
So you really need to understand like everything about AI agents' identities. So that's one thing that makes the problem worse. If you're thinking about it, the number of identities, again, that we're seeing is increasing dramatically. It used to be humans. Then later on, it used to be service accounts and workload identities. But most of the workload identities used to be very deterministic. So though it was a risk, it was less of a risk than what we're seeing right now with AI agents. So AI agents even increasing this risk dramatically. So that's one thing. This is one reason why now. The second reason why now, I would say, the identities problems or the identities pains have been around the block for the last probably 20, 30 years.
It's not a new problem.
It's not a new problem, again, if you're thinking about it. And it's not anyone's fault. At the end of the day, identities or IAM was built for a much simpler world that was mostly focused on compliance, mostly focusing on operational
And for
part.
the customers out there who are listening to this, they will probably say, I bought SailPoint, or I bought Savient, or I bought one of the long list of other folks. Like, why does that not work in the current era?
All of these legacy IGA solutions are built for a much simpler world. This is one.
Yeah.
And two, most of their use cases or the things that they come to solve was mostly operational driven, meaning it helped organization leverage some automation capabilities in order to focus mostly on lifecycle management of identities, like joiner removal levers and things like that in the org. Someone new is joining, he needs to get the right permissions and entitlements. And it's mostly built on this, I don't know, like the reason again, why again, like IGA was born or IGA started, again, like it's mostly around these reasons. So it's mostly operational. Then it became more compliance. And it was also built again in a much simpler world, which was mostly or only human.
Mm-hmm.
So these platforms again were built to a much simpler world, and that world doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So though it's still again like a problem that has been around for the last, I don't know, 5 or 10 or 20 years, finally again with AI, there's the opportunity to solve it.
Yeah.
So the why now, it's not only because there are new identities in the org because of AI agents and the problem becoming much more complex in order to solve. You need, of course, different stuff, but it's also because there is finally the abilities and finally the skill set that we have with AI that we can build things that we couldn't build before.
Yeah. And I want to pull on the thread a little bit about building a cyber giant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we as investors, you know, think about home runs, think about building iconic companies, think about building companies that have their names on a building. And you know, when we talked about it, like, it's pretty clear to me you want to build a cyber giant.
Yes.
You know, this is not the second time, but actually the third time you built it, and you've been the CPO of one of the former iconic cyber companies in the world. So like, why are you doing it again? Like, what motivates you? You don't have to work. So like, why are you doing this?
Yes. It's a great question. Actually, after I left Tenable, I told my wife that I'm retiring.
I remember. Like,
It's enough.
I know.
I told my wife, now it's time again that we can, travel around the world.
Mm-hmm.
We started doing it. Like, we booked trips to here and there. We went traveling with the kids. And by the way, again, there is nothing that gives you more motivation to go back to work than traveling, spending some more time with your kids, traveling again. But that's a different topic. But at the end of the day, I felt like I could not sit or look from the bench on everything that happens right now in terms of there is earthquake right now in terms of like the tech world. Like, AI is changing everything. AI is disrupting everything. That's probably the biggest revolution not of our time, maybe all times, I would say. And there have been a lot of revolutions, I would say, like in the last 20 or 30 years. But this is something that is changing everything. And when things are moving so quickly, again, there's an opportunity to build a giant. A lot of companies will die or will become less relevant, and new winners will be born. So there is finally a very, very, very big opportunity to do something that is like really amazing. And this is why I felt like I could not sit aside and wait and see again how the world will evolve in the next 5 to 10 years without being part of this journey. So this is why I jumped again to the trenches and say, let's start another company.
That's awesome. And you have a co-founder alongside this journey with you and with us. Tell us a little bit about him.
So my co-founder is Shai Morag. He's the chief product officer here at Oak. He's a very, very, very strong product leader that comes from the two most important backgrounds in his past. So one is, of course, cyber. He used to be the product leader in Vulcan Cyber, and it was acquired by Tenable. And we worked.
And that's where you met at Tenable.
Yes, right? And we met at Tenable. But he also brings to the table a very strong background in data. And when you're thinking about what we're building about, I would say like in every word, but especially in the identity, it's a data problem.
Yeah.
It's a data fabric problem. Again, how I bring all the data, how I connect and normalize all the data that I have, how I tie human identity to the AI agents that work in his behalf, how I normalize all my user accounts, how I normalize all the NHI and connect them to human, how I deduplicate. So at the end of the day, the data background is very, very, very important. So his background, he used to lead products in Datorama and then in Salesforce for a while. So he's coming from a very strong enterprise background and very strong data and cyber background, which is very important.
Awesome. And we're announcing the company today, the round, the team. As you think about the business over the next 12 months, how do you think about the market? How do you think about the team? How do you think about building the product? What's the major priorities for you?
So we're building a rocket ship, as I said. We're building a new cyber giant, and though still things again are moving much quicker again, and I need less of a manpower, I would say, to develop a lot of the things again with AI, because AI again make things, I would say, much quicker, and I would say you probably need less folks in order to do this.
Yeah.
The team members. Still, I would say because we're trying to build a giant, because we understand that the winner and what's important to our customers is a platform again, that will change the identity space. So we're growing the team as quickly as possible. We're building a team of superstars in everything that we do in the company. We started building the very, very, very strong R&D, and we have an amazing R&D as part of the team. We have an amazing marketing team. We have an amazing sales team and go-to-market organization that, again, it's still new and early, but we're bringing a lot of great people. Again,
I'm constantly amazed at the quality of the team, just the people you're talking to, and even just like, the customer interest from this stage. It's like, it's very unlike most startups. And I think that's an attribute to you, to the team, to the pain point. Going back to the why now, like it does feel like with agents, with AI, with where the legacy systems are and the surface area, the why now, it's really coming together nicely as like a crescendo of all these things.
Right.
I've been reflecting on this because it's a very typical VC question. It's like, why couldn't this company have existed like 5 years ago? And I think the truth is like people have tried, right? But without the rise in AI and the movement and the improvement of the frontier models and the use of agents, like the pain wasn't as acute and wasn't as big, and the solution wasn't as obvious. So like, it does feel like this is like a really good why now relative to the past.
So I agree with everything you said, right? But I also think that even the human pains that we're seeing, managing human identities, I would say at scale, which is a very, very, very big problem that people have tried to solve in the last, 5 to 10 years. Again, it's as I said, again, it's not, as we discussed, again, it's not new pains, but the way that you can build and use AI agents to transform the enterprise identity, it's news. It's something, again, that we weren't able to do it before. So even that, introducing AI agents to do identity governance and security for you, or copilot, or autonomously, again, as part of what you want, that will save you a lot of burden, a lot of manual work, will make will make your enterprise or make your organization much more secure. And at the end of the day, will also save you some compliance violation that are very important for the enterprise, again, the enterprise world today. So all of this, again, like we finally can do it because of AI.
In the past, you wouldn't really have like ephemeral human employees, right? Like the closest to that would be contractors. They come in for X number of days and then they leave. And you have to give them identities, but like very challenging.
Right.
That still exists.
Right.
Now the idea of ephemeral human or non-human identities is like very much a thing.
Right.
Like autonomous coding agents are running rampant, or customer service or finance.
Right.
And without something like you, kind of feels like a security disaster waiting to happen.
Right. I completely agree with you. Some of the models that you used to have with a role-based access control are less relevant now. Even for people, I would say, like even for humans, it's probably long due to change some of it, and make the enterprises more secure, make the organization more tight in terms of, I would say, like the permissions and entitlements that everyone has. And as we said, again, in a world that even attackers are using AI, the controls should be much tighter. So some of the paradigms, again, need to shift.
In 5 years, outside of us having a name on a building, like what do you think the identity stack looks like? Is it you and Microsoft, or how do you envision, like, you dream the dream?
So I would say that the dream is one platform that rules them all, that does governance and security and help reduce some of the silos, fragmented solutions that we have today, and gives you a very intelligent, autonomous platform that rules and controls your identity in the organization.
I mean, that would have billions in revenue.
Billions in revenue, potentially, I would say.
Yeah.
It can live side by side, maybe with Microsoft, like or IDP or other identity providers, or potentially even become the identity provider later on and become the platform. I think consolidation in the identity space is long due.
Yeah.
And there's an opportunity for Oak to become this platform.
And you're working with, which we won't name, but some of the most recognizable organizations in the world. When you talk to them now, do they agree with you? Like, is there headwinds? Is there tailwinds? Like, what are the customers saying?
Everyone understands the pains around identity. Everyone understands that at the end of the day, this is probably the top priority in terms of security. As I said, because humans, because of AI agents, because of everything, the keys to the kingdom at the end of the day is the identities and entitlements that you give them. So there is a tailwind, I would say, like if you're thinking about it, what you're hearing from customers. People understand the pains, people understand the challenge, and people understand the importance. And people relate and understand the vision and agree with the vision and our approach. So I think this is very encouraging, what we're hearing from all these big customers that we're working with.
And because we're filming this in Silicon Valley, all everyone can talk about is what is Gemini, what is Anthropic, what is OpenAI doing. Like, every week there's a new frontier model or a new open source model or something. How do you think about the roles and the influence of AI from the model side on your business?
The stack that we are building right now is built on top of a lot of the LLM work. So we're encouraged by everything that the frontier labs and the model labs are building. I would say it's like an improvement of the AI that we're seeing and improvements of the LLM models. At the end of the day, enterprise-grade security product or security platforms will not be replaced by LLM by itself. The LLM gives us the ability to bring more value to our customers. So the infrastructure that we're building on top will give us the ability to invest more and more and more efforts in bringing more value to the customers. The analogy that I'm always using is the cloud. When we move from the on-prem to a cloud or to cloud-native solutions, a lot of the work or a lot of the investment became less relevant. So you can focus more on the value. Instead of taking 3 years just for the infrastructure, it took 6 months for the infrastructure, and much more of the time after again can be invested in the value. So this is again what we're also seeing from the LLM. So I'm very excited about it because at the end of the day, we can finally deliver much more security value and much more needed security value for our customers. And that's an opportunity. And this is something to be encouraged and excited about.
You're obviously using insert name LLM to build the product. Do you find on the other end, customers are using the products and that then fits in well with your stack? Like, how does it look like on the customer side?
So most of the customers again are using what we're delivering in our solution, which means we have, of course, part of our solution again, like the AI agents implemented as part of that, and they're using it as part of that. They're using a lot of what we call OKI. As part of that. It is of course built on the LLMs again, the frontier models and the frontier labs of course developed.
Cool.
So this is what we're see most of our customers are using today.
Yeah. And you think about the inside of Oak and the team. Do you have an AI team? Are you considering yourself a research lab for security and AI? Where do you fall on the frontier lab versus only consuming and not doing any research? Where do you fall on that?
So we have a very strong research team that is mostly focused, I would say, on cyber and security issues. I would say that's the most focus, I would say.
Yeah.
And of course also focus on AI, but more I would say the implementation of AI rather than developing a model right now or an LLM. Again, I think it's futile to compete with the LLM, I would say labs. We need to make sure that we completely understand the LLMs, we completely understand the AI, we completely understand the implementation after an application that we're using, and it's a big part of the responsibility of the research team. And of course, finding flaws and security issues, I would say, in everything, like other identity solutions, and also improving the world, also on finding vulnerabilities. Not all of them again can be found with AI today. So the best researchers, I would say, like that are working for us are also focusing on that.
And the team today is predominantly based in Tel Aviv.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously research, R&D, product, and go-to-market. One of the things we've talked about a lot is, building a winning culture, building the generational business.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think about the culture? What's non-negotiable for you? And then I'm curious if you're open to it, sharing like, how does that differ from how you built Hermetic and even Tenable? Just like walking through anything about the culture.
I think a big part of what we're trying to build is like one team that works for the same purpose or the same cause. And it was important for us also in the previous companies like Hermetic, for example. But I feel right now I'm more experienced and more I learned from some of the lessons, I would say. Like for example, in Hermetic we didn't want to work in an open space and everyone work in a different rooms. I felt right now we want to make sure that people again feel the sense of belongings, I would say, to the company. Another thing that was not on top enough, I would say, like in Hermetic or in a previous experience, again, like that's not specific, I would say, like on Hermetic. Each team created its own culture. Each group created its own culture. Each division created its own culture. I don't want it anymore. Like we one team. There will not be a WhatsApp group for the Israeli employees and not for, I would say, like the rest of the company.
Yeah.
So I think that's the most important lesson that I'm taking. And again, I'm not saying that Hermetic was a great company. Again,
great company,
great culture, great outcome, great team. Again, but some of the things again, I learned more, and I felt like they are more important right now. Like I learned from the experience. So creating one team and everything around it, it's very important. Like making sure that we're meeting in a weekly cadence and not canceling it every few weeks or something like that. Creating again, at the end of the day, you need to create the culture that people feel that they are working together as one team towards the very hard goal, again, like to build the cyber giant, as we said. Cross-Atlantic company, or I would say a global company, is very hard to build in terms of culture.
Yeah.
How you make sure that there are no, I would say, disagreements or disputes or fights between the Israeli and the US team. And of course, the Israelis will say always that the American team is the fault of the American team. The American team will say it's the fault of the Israeli team. It's already complicated again when you have sellers that again complain about the product or about the marketing or the lead generation, and everyone else is complaining about the sellers. So the making sure that everyone feels as one team, that's probably the most important.
It's been interesting. I don't know if you've seen this, but a couple of months ago, Andre Karpathy joined Anthropic as a member of the technical staff.
Which is amazing.
And we've seen this time and time again. Like the frontier US companies have done away with titles in the technical team.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think about that? Like, do you think member of technical staff does that? Like, it kind of flattens everything, one team? Do you think that we should have titles? Like, where is your head at on that?
I think it's a complicated discussion. I would say mostly on the technical team, probably I would agree. It makes sense not to have titles and people are working together. I would say in other parts of the organization that are more customer facing, at the end of the day, customers care about titles. Again, at least today, and I'm trying not to be naive.
Yeah.
If a VP come or a director come, it's different. Or again, like a C-level comes, again, it's a different. Again, like to the customer, it's perceived as different. Again, like in the how much respect or honor again you're giving this customer and how he perceived the people that the person was in front of him. So at the end of the day, titles are still important. Again, I'd love to be in a world that titles are not important. But on the contrary, again, we can say about the balance, about what we said. In everything that we build together, in some areas of the company, there should not be a difference between the CEO to the last of the employees, as we said, like sitting together again, like eating together again, like.
And it's amazing the culture you've built. Like you go in, and it really does feel like no one is above everyone else and everyone can communicate with each other, and you build a direct culture of winners.
Yes.
And it's really like amazing to see. I know we're here to talk about the company and the launch and the market. I would be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about the fundraising. So you raised $60 million in a seed, which, outside of the foundational companies raising billions in the seed for compute, this is pretty large.
Yes.
So why this much? And you brought in 3 iconic venture firms. Like, why 3 firms? Like, walk us through that.
So it all comes down again at the end of the day, what you want to build, what's the goal. If you want to build, let's say sometimes as a first timer, you want to build a company again that does like a niche product or a small part or a feature, or again, like I don't want to underestimate or say like bad things about like the plans or some of the things that they did in the past, like but your aspirations are not very high, and you can raise lower amount and grow slower and see again if you can sell the company early. If you're thinking of building the next cyber giant, again, you need to be born as a gorilla. You need to be born very strong. You need to have the funds and the capital to support it. You need to create the brand and the profile of a company that is a strong leader in the industry. So you need more funds. You need more funds because you need to build a bigger team to create a platform. You need more funds because more capital in order to create the best go-to-market team, the best marketing. I'll tell you a secret, marketing costs a lot of money. creating a great brand.
I've seen the P&L, I'm aware.
Yes. You need more capital again, like to do that. And also you want to run quicker than others. You want to run as quickly as possible. So you don't want to have capital or needs for capital as something that will slow you down or be limitations. We want to be in a place that we can make the decisions only on what is good for the business and what is best for the business, and not about like capital constraints. So that's on the capital and the round sides. It's also create high profile for the company. Again, we can say like that's also something that more newspapers cover, more media coverage about big rounds.
Yeah, success begets success.
Yes, success again creates success and everything that we know around that.
So why 3 firms? Like why, and then why CRV?
So we want the best people around the table. At the end of the day, building a company is a team game, or you cannot do it alone. So you want the best people around the table that can help you with networking, with advice, with making the right decisions. Making the right decisions is hard. We know that. Like we have a lot of dilemmas all the time. It's not easy to build a great company. So you want the best people around the table. You want the people that will work for you, for the company. It's not for me, Shai personally. It's for the company. It will make this company the success that it should be. You want people that are hungry. You want people that will hustle. As I said, we'll work as equals. We'll work as partners. And we'll build the amazing company again that we know that we should be and will build and will be in the future.
I'll say it's been a credit to you to watch the people you surround yourself with, from a team and an investor, that many people are, by all accounts, winners. They've won throughout their life, they've been successful. But hunger appears to be kind of a thread between everybody that, like, despite former successes and money or whatever, they're still really hungry to build that cyber giant.
Right.
And it's really impressive that you have managed to continue to maintain that despite all the former successes of everyone around you.
Right. I think every success that I had in the past again made me more, starving for bigger success or more hungry for bigger success. Maybe it's a bug that I have inside. I don't know, like inside my brain. But at the end of the day, I'm very hungry. And again, like we understand that we need to bring hungry people around the table. And it's not just about the investors. It's about also the advisor that we bring in, surrounding ourselves with a very, very strong advisory board. Private investors that we brought, leaders from other big scale-ups, I would say, like in cyber, that join as investors and private investors. and the best team, of course, that we can hire again, like and giving them the right compensation, of course, that they will have a big part in the success that we're building. All of that again is very, very, very important in order to build a successful company. And you asked specifically about CRV and about, of course, you again. And we didn't work before, but as I said, I looked for people that will make this company the best company, the success that it should, again, like they have the potential to be. And I felt that you are probably one of the most promising or the best person that can be can meet all the things that I looked for. Will hustle, will work very hard, will be a partner, will work side by side with me. I think this is a big part of what we discussed before. You'll invest a lot of your time and efforts again in making this company a success.
To wrap this up a little bit with some kind of more personal questions, but what's the hardest part about doing this for the third time?
I think at the end of the day, it's the expectation that you have from yourself and others have from you. I think you're more resilient. Again, you know that things take time, you know that there will be mistakes, you know that some of the customers will say no, some of the investors will say no. Again, you're not very nervous or upset about every no that you're getting or everything that happens, I would say. But the expectations are much, much, much higher. So if every company that I sold, I wanted to build in the next company, I wanted to build something bigger. Right now, again, I want to build a very, very big and successful company. And I think that's harder again, like than building a company and selling it for 200 or 300 or 400 million, which is also very hard. You know, I'm not saying that it's easy. And I think the expectations are bigger. And I would say like probably the biggest expectation that again, like the expectation that I have for myself. And I'm sure again others again expect from us or from me. You're at the end of the you as a CEO, as we said again, like it's a team sport, but it's as a CEO again, you have the responsibility and the accountability for everything. So
one of the things that I think you're exceptional at is communicating and taking ownership over everything in and around the company. There's no he or she was supposed to do it, it's their fault. You're always taking accountability. And it's something that I try and emulate, and I learned that a lot from you. Like, in the same side, like, it's not all positive. There's also negatives, and building a company is non-linear, as you know. What's something you're scared of that maybe you wouldn't kind of outwardly always say this, but that's something that is helpful for you to communicate?
And maybe we talked about it again, like in again, but we're not talking about it all the time. But I think the biggest fear is, of course, that the world is moving very, very, very quickly in a pace that we never have seen before. Which, in one hand, create the opportunity for us, and this is why we started this company, because there is a big, big, big opportunity right now in the market. But on the other hand, or at the same time, it's a bit panicking, I would say.
Like every week there's a new AI release or anything else. Yeah, the world's moving really quickly.
Yes.
I don't know if this helps, but you're not alone. The world's moving faster than ever before, and everyone's trying to ride the wave and not get crushed by the wave. And I appreciate you sharing, because it's very hard to do these things alone. And you do have a co-founder, but communicating with people at least helps kind of go through this journey. Give me one sentence to a potential customer or CISO watching this.
It's a great question. I would say identity is the keys to the kingdom. And IAM was built for a much simpler world, and that world doesn't exist anymore.
And you now started multiple businesses, many successful exits. Do you have one or two pieces of advice to a founder starting out today that you wish someone had told you?
Maybe a few. I would say one, and this is was less relevant, like 10 or 15 years ago. You're starting a company in the age of AI, in the AI era. You need to make sure that you have the right moat, you understand what you're building, and you understand that AI or everything that we do is a moving target, and you need to aim not for what's happening right now, but what will happen in the next 12, 18, 24 months ago when we start being in the market, maybe even later on, like when you will be in the market. And moat right now in the AI era is very important. Some of the moat that we built in the past is not relevant anymore. It's not just about what's the size of the team and again like execution, because some of it can be done much quicker than before with AI. So really understand that you're tackling a big problem, tackling a hard problem, and understand the moat. I think this is like the biggest advice that I would probably give anyone who starts a company right now. The second advice that I would probably give to any first timer that starts his own company right now, which is probably the easier, I would say, like to say to that everyone experience will probably say, but it's probably the most important piece. Listen to your customers, or listen to the customers, listen to the market. Don't think that you're smartest or know more, or again, like understand their pains more better than they are, I would say. So though it's a very maybe simple advice or common advice or something like that, but that's probably the biggest advice that I would wish that someone will tell me when I started. And the second part of this is don't wait until you talk with customers. So don't wait, I don't know, 12 months, 18 months until you feel like you have something. Like go and talk with customers right from the start, even before you start building anything.
Well, Shai, deeply grateful for the partnership and for the time. And this has been an amazing journey so far, and I cannot wait to build the next cyber giant with you. Thanks for coming in.
Amazing. The feeling is, of course, mutual.
Awesome.
And I really look forward to see what's coming next.